Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome back to the Planet FPL Weekender. My Friday partner in crime, David Hunter, is back with me and very much looking forward to a Liverpool versus Tottenham Hotspur Champions League final. How are you, mate?
We go again. Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are
I'm
you?
sure it'll be the same result, but I don't think I'll be there, and I'm not sure you think you'll be there
No.
either. On the weekend of today, we're going to do a lot of discussion, obviously, on the Champions League from this week, little roundup of the Europa League, and we'll finish with some free hit and some wildcard drafts for the weekend. Spoiler, that's changed somewhat for me from the draft that I did on Tuesday, partly because of a big announcement yesterday, which we'll start with. And I don't think it's come as any major shock that we've got this announcement. Wolves versus Arsenal provisionally is being brought forward to game week 26 as long as Arsenal don't lose to Chelsea in the Carabao Cup second leg on Tuesday. However, should they do so, Everton versus Chelsea will be brought forward to that midweek instead. That has opened up following Chelsea's confirmation of finishing in the top eight of the Champions League. If you're wondering why, that hasn't meant a provisional announcement for Manchester City against Crystal Palace to be brought forward from 31 to 26. It cannot be because Crystal Palace, remember, are in the Conference League playoffs across the midweeks after 26 and 27. We are in a situation now where we've got a double game week 26 confirmed. Obviously, it's likely that it's going to be Wolves against Arsenal, but the knowing now that there's an alternative plays on your mind, doesn't it, David?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it'll be carnage. I think if Chelsea knock Arsenal out in terms of price rises for Chelsea players, won't it? If
Well, the
if they pull
fixture
it
run
off.
is incredible anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I think I saw a tweet saying statistically, according to bookies odds, it's like a 90% chance that it'll be Arsenal and 10% chance that it'll be Chelsea. Um,
I wouldn't
yeah,
think that high. All
yeah.
it takes is Chelsea to win by a goal and you're in extra time, right? Then,
Did seem quite high,
yeah, I
but
don't think that's quite right. Arsenal were obviously massive favourites, but I wouldn't put the percentage at that high.
yeah. I think most of us are sat there with three Arsenal players already, aren't they? So yeah, the real carnage will happen if Chelsea pull off a reversal in the second leg. But yeah, I've got Enzo Fernandez and quite happy with that. Kind of no immediate plans to get any more in at the moment, but yeah, like you say, that they're already in a good enough fixture run as they are at Chelsea, so they'll be popular regardless.
Yeah, to put that extra Everton fixture in between a run of West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley already, yeah, I mean, that's an insane run.
Yeah,
The problem with them is obviously rotation concerns. We'll discuss their victory in Napoli in a bit. Just to confirm, the doubles would be so Arsenal would have Brentford away and Wolves away. Remember, these fixtures would fall over two midweeks and would be separated by the FA Cup fourth round matches. Arsenal Wolves would be on a Wednesday night. They play Wigan 3 days earlier in the FA Cup and Brentford 3 days before that. So Arsenal's double would be Thursday and then Wednesday. If Wolves have the double, it's Nottingham Forest away and Arsenal at home. Can't say I'll be diving after that. I know a few people are looking at it thinking it's great, but just ask people to think about would they be looking at it just generally. Oh, there's an extra fixture against the best team in the league. I'm not sure about that personally. Chelsea's double would be Leeds at home and Everton away. And it would be Tuesday. Chelsea go to Hull on the Friday in the FA Cup. So the fact that there's the FA Cup games in the middle does make you think, well, you'll get second string teams near enough. It might land quite nicely. For Everton, the double would be Bournemouth at home and Chelsea at home. Remember, they're out of the FA Cup. So, I mean, Everton don't change their team too much anyway. So, Everton would have two home games, although they are better on the road than at home at the moment.
yeah.
But yeah, okay, we'll get confirmation on that on Tuesday. I don't think there's anything truly shocking on that. Let's see how it comes out in the wash. Newcastle Sunderland obviously can't be brought forward either because of Newcastle's involvement in the playoffs. Should Newcastle lose in the playoffs, might land that it goes into the midweek of 29 or 30 instead. Similar, well, that can't happen in the Man City Crystal Palace scenario because Man City are confirmed to play in the last 16 now of the Champions League. So still a small chance that Newcastle Sunderland would maybe get brought forward. But as a few of our patrons who live up in the northeast have told us, the police will be absolutely desperate that that fixture doesn't take place on a midweek. Man City Crystal Palace could, in theory, still be played before game week 31. If Manchester City lose to Salford in the FA Cup fourth round, then I guess it could go on fifth round weekend.
Well,
Unlikely.
yeah.
Champions League. We mentioned Chelsea, obviously big victory in Naples on Tuesday night. A few things I think come out of it. Reece James playing at centre back seems like a bit of a surprise, but that's probably good news for Trevor Chalobah having had a rest, and Chelsea not having these playoff games is good news for their players moving forward in terms of rotation. Cole Palmer didn't start, played 45 minutes, 2 assists for João Pedro, who finished the 2 goals brilliantly. I mean, his first goal was a stunning goal, actually. And I think it's easy to read from that. Oh, João Pedro's got favouritism now, as discussed on Clash of Correspondence on Wednesday prior to the game. The problem is they play Arsenal Tuesday, West Ham Saturday. You're like, well, they've got to win at Arsenal. Is it the full strength team at Arsenal? Does Delap play against West Ham, for example? Tough to say, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. The fact that it's a Tuesday night, did you say Arsenal Chelsea?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite a quick turnaround, isn't it? So feels like one where Rossini can give Delap a go in that one, I think. But the appeal of going for João Pedro in this fixture run is pretty strong, isn't it? I mean, both of the goals the other night were absolutely superb, weren't they? The first one on his left, top corner from the edge of the area. Second one's just a good team goal. Shout out for one of the Napoli goals as well. I don't know if you saw that one, the Vergara one.
Yeah, stunning.
Lovely bit of skill. Yeah. No, it's Pedro. Chelsea are just a little bit sticky, aren't they, as per COTC? It's just those important cup games at the moment kind of make the almost take a little bit of priority over the league games at the moment. But I think when we come to our wildcard draft, you would, if you run wildcard, I imagine you've got to go there and sort of lean into it, haven't you, at the moment?
I think, yeah, you've probably got to, even more so now, because if they did turn it around against Arsenal, you are going to chase after it. There's little choice.
Yep.
And in which case, you're going to be so unlucky if you don't get a player that starts at least one. I think it might even draw a few people towards bench boost in 26.
Okay.
Just because of assets like Pickford, Tarkovsky and stuff as well. Wouldn't go free hitting in that week, by the way, guys. If you're short of it, I'd go short of it. That's my current plan at the moment. I do intend to buy Enzo Fernandez tonight. We'll wait till we get the team news out of the way. But yeah, Gimrez to Enzo Fernandez on the cards for me. João Pedro is a tempter, but I don't think I can buy it when ultimately I'm sitting here at this moment thinking I'm not sure he starts.
Yeah.
We're on a wild card, as you'll see in a bit. I probably would chance it and just throw him in and just take it for whatever it is this weekend. Chalobah, really interesting now. I think that standout. Robert Sanchez will appeal, but they probably still go out. And then you've still got the headache of the rotation moving forward. But obviously finishing the top 8 is a massive help.
That's a bonus, isn't it?
Prospect of Chelsea assets, because I think, one, they had to win in Napoli. But as we discussed on the UCL Fantasy podcast on Tuesday, you're looking at going 1-goal victory might not be enough here. And it's only the fact that a few others have kind of wet the bed. I mean, City, the 2 up against Galatasaray, more they'd have gone in front of them. Atalanta not winning in Union. PSG and Newcastle drawing with each other. Real Madrid losing. Benfica, even with a draw, they'd have finished above Chelsea. Chelsea ultimately have finished 6th. Yeah. Which is a great return. And had some difficult fixtures on their run as well. But we couldn't be sure that even a victory was going to put them through. So projection before the games was probably that they'd land in the playoff places, but they haven't. That's a big bonus. Okay, your team. Oh, we didn't do Monday Night Football. Let's do Monday Night Football. Yeah, Everton against Leeds. Completely forgot about it. Which is also a consequence of looking at them a little bit more with this double game week 26 announcement. Now, I didn't see the game, David. So tell us what you saw.
It's a good watch, actually. Full throttle, very competitive. Slightly similar to Brighton Bournemouth previous Monday in terms of the away team starting off and dominating the first half, and then the home team responding in the second half. Leeds were outstanding in the first half.
Yeah, I had.
Vastly superior to Everton. They were dangerous on the flanks with the fullbacks. They had Bogle and Justin were getting forward regularly. Calvert-Lewin nearly gets the goal. Doesn't quite get there from, I think it's Stack's cross, and Justin pops it in at the far post, then hits the post, should really score again, Calvert-Lewin. So yeah, they really did have Everton on the ropes in that first half, and I think if they'd have gone in 2-0 up, I don't think Everton could have complained. Uh, and not getting that second goal ended up sort of biting them really, because credit to Moyes, he made some changes immediately at half time. Took young Harrison Armstrong off, who was played in quite an advanced role. Took Dwight McNeil off, and then he brought on Dewsbury Hall, who's now back, and Jared Branthwaite, who's now back. So it meant a system change. They played three at the back, which I don't think I've seen Everton do that much, to be honest. I don't know whether
Not
you've
often.
seen.
They have that, certainly under David Moyes. They have done it before.
Yeah. So it was Branthwaite, O'Brien, and Tarkowski at the back, and then started off the second half with Patterson and Mikolenko as wing backs, which is pretty limited, to be honest. Well, when that's your kind of wide threat. I know I'm not speaking out of turn here, because I've seen Sean say something similar on Slack, and some of my Evertonian mates as well, saying Everton aren't going to get to where they aspire to be with the current fullbacks that they've got. They are still looking for the new Leighton Baines and Seamus Coleman, unfortunately for them. He brought on Tyler Dibbling fairly early on in the second half for Patterson to sort of play as that right wing back, albeit he is quite left-footed, Dibbling. And the system change where they, nearly as much as Leeds sort of dominated the first half, Everton dominated the second half, and there was kind of no surprise when the goal came. And they nearly won it at the end with Idrissa Gueye hit the woodwork towards the end. So I would say a draw was a fair result, reflecting on both
Game
teams.
of two halves, very much, yeah.
Yeah. Trying to kind of avoid using that cliche, but it really was, to be honest. It was, but it was a good watch. It was never dull. Plenty of tackles flying in, good atmosphere. Everton's home record at the new stadium isn't terrible, is it? But they do seem to enjoy it more when they're kind of when teams come onto them, really, rather than when the onus is on them to.
Yeah, well, exactly that. The more you've got of the ball, and I mean, actually, they've ended up with 69% of this, but obviously, I guess Leeds are probably somewhat thrown by a change of system midway through a game that they probably wouldn't have expected. But yeah, if you look at some of Everton's results, I mean, they've actually won only 2 of the last 8. Those victories were away to Nottingham Forest and away to Villa. And I think when they went to Forest, most of us thought they'd get beat. It felt like a good opportunity for Forest to get a result, and Everton were really short of bodies at that point. Jack Grealish had been ill. Obviously, Jack Grealish, we think, might even miss the rest of the season now. And obviously at Villa, they played really well at Villa and won 1-0. The other games across that run include a draw at Burnley, defeat at home to Brentford, draws at home to Wolves, now draw at home to Leeds. And at the start of that run, defeats to Chelsea and Arsenal. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So yeah, the more the onus is on them, the more of a problem a little bit. And I think the fullbacks will be a big part of that. I say it to you all the time. You got bad fullbacks in this league, you're going to have inconsistencies. Like you very much were having, I think, particularly early in the season in terms of the amount of chances you were giving up, which Liverpool from that aspect have improved on quite a bit. Takeaways from an FPL perspective. Leeds assets, it's a rough run coming up, right? Across the next 5. Arsenal at home, Chelsea away, Villa away, Manchester City at home. There is Forest at home next week, and that feels like a big game for Leeds. The way they're playing at the moment, though, doesn't give the aura of a side that is worried about relegation. You feel like they're going to keep picking up some results. And let's remember that run through mid and late December, the fixtures were horrendous, and they did quite well in them. If you're a Calvert-Lewin owner, I think you probably keep across the next 2, I would say. Where are you going to? Do you look at Krupi now? There's a little bit more interesting. Maybe it's cheaper and it might open up some money.
Do you think if they sign Strand Larsen, they'll play? Does he start on the bench, or does he play up front with Calvert-Lewin, or what do you think?
I mean,
what's the plan there? Do you think?
You would think it would dramatically, at kind of best, impact Calvert-Lewin's minutes. It would make him less viable. I wouldn't see them playing together too much. They kind of are really playing basically with Aronson really high at the moment. I wouldn't see that being Calvert-Lewin and Strand Larsen too often. We think Strand Larsen is probably holding out for Leeds. It's something to do with his agent. We think supports Leeds or something. Bit of a quirk. We know Palace are obviously interested in him as well. We will do a transfer window show next Tuesday after the transfer window closes on Monday, by the way. Yeah, it's probably a hold at the moment. And then maybe 26, it's move on. I mean, if Everton Chelsea was a double in 26, I could see Calvert-Lewin owners going to Barry.
Yeah, he's looking a lot more confident.
I like him.
Nice,
I've said this to you.
nice finish. Lovely. He had another lovely effort with the outside of his right foot, which Darlow saved pretty well. It's one of those for the cameras, I think, but you'd expect him to save it. But he's definitely growing in confidence and is a threat because he is kind of playing up front on his own. Now Dewsbury Hall's back, he'll have a bit more support in those attacking areas. What's he like 5'7", Barry, something like that?
Yeah, in and around that. Yeah, I mean, quite similar to Calvert-Lewin from that perspective.
Yeah, Robbie's around the same price as well, isn't he? So there are a few kind of
The problem with Brobby, though, is like
semi-budget options.
Brobby's got Sunderland this week, but then he's got Arsenal next week. So I don't think you'd go Calvert-Lewin to Brobby.
Not now.
That might
No.
be a cute little play on Calvert-Lewin, hold fire.
Yeah.
I guess the other one would be if it's Wolves Arsenal, you might consider Mane. Just put him in as obviously a cheaper enabler as well. What do you think happens with Everton defence next? So change to a back three. Brantwaite's back in squad. Michael Keane now comes back from suspension. O'Brien obviously covers in quite well at fullback, but I don't know if that's particularly suitable for wing back. Hurts Patterson. I don't think Diblin's going to be playing wing back too often. Do you just expect this to be back to a back four at Brighton?
I think so, yeah. Kind of a bit unknown has. I mean, Bradthwaite looked fit from what I saw, so he played 45, I believe, without any problems. So I think probably, do we reckon O'Brien right back, Tarkowski, Brantwaite, and Mikolenko as a back four.
But then what about Kane?
He's clear understudy to Brantwaite, though, I think, isn't he? And Tarkowski just always plays.
He does, but I do hear a few Evertonians say they'd prefer Keane over Tarkowski. I don't think that's a general wide opinion, but I do hear a few suggest it.
I think you have to see it though, don't you? Tarkowski being taken out of the team. He's been a constant, hasn't he?
I think you'd have to think by the time you got to 26, unless he has a setback, Jared Brantwaite will be in the team.
Yeah.
He's the best player there from those positions. So then it's what we're in. Does that make Tarkowski in any way dangerous, do you think, at the moment?
No, I think he's a regular until he's not, isn't he, in FPL? I certainly wouldn't go buying him, but I don't suppose anybody is. But I think if you've got him, you just roll with him at the moment.
The other one, could it be all four centre backs? O'Brien right back, which for those who don't know, O'Brien really is a centre back, and then Brantwaite at left back. Could it even be that? By the way, you're not getting O'Brien and Brantwaite into like inverted 10 positions. It's not going to look like Timber and Hincapié.
I'd love to see it. Yeah, I mean, Mikolenko, I don't think he's bulletproof, is he? He would be someone who, he's not a lock, I don't think, in a Moyes team. He doesn't really fancy Asnu from what I've seen at the moment, so there's not really anyone else.
But I would think that three at the back system would suit him better.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of him, in truth be told, of Asnu. But yeah, Mikolenko's he's been a solid player for Everton, but he's kind of one of the reasons why they probably aren't ready to make that next jump into sort of European challenging positions yet. I don't think he's quite limited, I think.
James Garner's fine if you want an enabler.
Yeah.
Iliman and Dye obviously back from AFCON. How did he look?
Yeah, good. Yeah, he was appealing for a foul on the Leeds goal, which it wasn't. Definitely wasn't. I don't think it would have been soft to give it.
I'd have been appealing about the way Dwight McNeil was running back personally, but
yeah, yeah. I mean, especially now with Grealish injured, he is their talisman now and Dye. So a lot kind of rests on his shoulders from a creative standpoint now from Everton.
Yeah, I could see me if it didn't end up being Everton Chelsea double. I could see me dipping
probably
into
go there. Yeah,
and Dye in 26 for maybe 26, 27.
Yeah.
Maybe off Rice for a couple and then go back or something like that. Maybe. My routes to Everton players aren't great. And I think that'll be the case for many people. So if you're interested because of the possibility of the double, I wouldn't be moving this week for Brighton away. It's not like a flagship fixture. See how it looks afterwards, right? Because obviously if Chelsea do win, then yeah, they're on radar very, very quickly from that perspective. But at the moment, yeah, it's probably just to stay away from them unless the double happens. Just on Leeds as well, obviously that's back-to-back games now for Cole Darlow. It doesn't seem like he's done anything particularly wrong in the two games. I guess if you're a Goodmanson owner, you'd be a bit concerned, primarily because of the James Justin performance, right?
He's playing well, yeah.
So Justin as a wing back, it works. He used to play inverted quite a lot for Leicester on that side as well. So he's comfortable right or left back. Goodmanson, we think, is going to miss a couple of weeks. He's the sort of one, if you're looking ahead already at like 31 and going, oh, Brentford at home, 31, that's all right. I don't want to deal with that. Therefore, unless you're in a dramatic problem from an injury perspective, don't deal with it at the moment. It's fine to leave as what it is, your fifth defender at the moment, but you obviously want to monitor that. Another assist for Anton Stack, but I think with the fixtures coming up, you're probably not looking at Leeds at the moment. So are we all been in our Liverpool assets for Chelsea or Arsenal assets in a couple of weeks, Dave? Or you having beat Qarabag Shop 6-0 in midweek? Are you this free-flowing, wonderful football team again?
We'd be very competitive in the Azerbaijani league. I said that on Slack on
I think
Wednesday.
my team would be competitive in the Bundesliga, what I've watched across the last 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be holding Frimpong if you've anyone got him. We've heard from Slot already today. He's although it's not as bad as it looked, he's going to miss a few weeks, so could be a return to right back for Dom Szoboszlai tomorrow night.
So what happened there on Wednesday night? Did Dom go there?
No, Endo came on. Endo just played there and was fine. And he won't. I'm pretty sure it won't be Endo tomorrow, though.
That's not going to be so good against the likes of Gordon and Semenyo, maybe in forthcoming weeks.
No, he did. He did some good stuff, Endo, the other night, though. Just he is quite a bit of a. He's a trier, if nothing else. No, I mean, there's not a massive amount to take from it, to be honest. I mean, it was nice to see us play well and score some goals. We created best part 6 XG to sort of explain how dominant we were. I think we said before we started recording 38 shots, 10 big chances. Yeah, it was a good point made on the Anfield Wrap yesterday, actually, because I listened to that saying Qarabag obviously dominate their domestic league. So they aren't really a team built to sort of try and sit in against teams and sort of defend, because they're used to sort of having their way with everyone they play when they play week in, week out. So it was a bit of a sort of very difficult assignment for them, and they kept trying to play football even when it was sort of 3 or 4-0. They were just clearly intent on trying to score a few goals and enjoy themselves. They nearly ended up going out, actually, but they have kind of sneaked through in 22nd place. But yeah, from a Liverpool point of view, I mean, 6 goals, 5 different scorers. Everyone enjoyed themselves. Salah scored, looked really happy to score his goal. Role reversal from the free kick at Bournemouth, where he rolled it for Szoboszlai at Bournemouth. I don't actually know with the roll of the foot. Yeah, I've not even thought about that, to be honest.
It obviously is, because it's just been allowed to stand in 2 different competitions. I'm sure the players know it, but it's not like a little toe poke touch to the side.
It's a continuous touch, I suppose, isn't it?
Kind of is, yeah.
Yeah. 2 goals from Alexis McAllister, nice goal from Florian Wirtz. Not really one to sort of dwell on, really, because of the level of opposition, but it was nice to see Slot smiling and, players smiling.
Digging out Jurgen Klopp, I saw. Yeah. What did he say that for, man? He was referring to the fact that Liverpool were in the Europa League 2 years ago, and it just felt like a bit of an unnecessary thing to be talking about.
Yeah, I mean, one of the journalists said on Twitter that you wouldn't think after that post-match press conference that Liverpool had just won 6-0, because like the vibe was quite negative. I think he's obviously up against it at the moment, Slot, and he's not a kind of guy, I don't think, that kind of shuts himself away from all the noise. We already know that sometimes he'll I don't know why he would do this, but he sticks Talk Sport on in the car on the way to training sometimes to sort of listen to what people are saying. So I think he's kind of, and he's perfectly entitled to kind of stand up for himself amongst all the criticism he's getting at the moment, because I must admit, some of the disrespect he's getting in some of the media and some of the fan base is a little bit out of order, to be honest, given he has actually won the league for us last season. And I think maybe he's, although I wouldn't have said what he said about the Atalanta Europa League stuff, maybe he's thinking, everyone's just saying, I've won the league with Jurgen Klopp's team here. Well, they weren't actually that great at the end of the Jurgen Klopp era. They weren't in the Champions League. They went out to Atalanta pretty meekly, to be honest. And he's kind of a little bit sick of all the shit that's being thrown his way. But I would probably argue just keep your mouth shut, to be honest. And just
Liverpool fans want Xabi Alonso in June, right?
a lot of people. I mean, I'm not saying sack him and get him in now. But there are a lot of people who, and if I'm being totally honest, if you were to tell me he leaves at the end of the season and Xabi Alonso comes in, I'm not going to quibble at that. So maybe there's just a kind of get us into the Champions.
That feels inevitable, David.
Yeah, get us into the Champions League, try and win something, an FA Cup, or I think we're good enough to win the Champions League, but we are in the top 8, and then shake hands at the end of the season for a job well done. Maybe that's where it'll come to. But yeah, I think Slot's finally biting back with a few of the brickbats that are coming his way in the media, and I part of me doesn't blame him for it, to be honest, because he's probably feels a little bit disrespected.
Okay,
but good performance on Wednesday.
A few FPL questions. Szoboszlai, is that a concern then that he might end up back in a fullback position here?
I think it has to be tomorrow. Gomez is
Curtis Jones available or not?
Well, he's been ill. I don't know what Slot said about him today. So we'll see. There has to be a chance Szoboszlai will play right back tomorrow. I don't think I'd be surprised if Endo plays there tomorrow. Bradley's out, Frimpong's out, and Gomez has been out for a week or so. And we know he's not the most durable. So
Curtis Jones is available, I've just saying, for tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a sell, but
it's probably not a buy at this.
Certainly isn't a buy this week. I don't think Szoboszlai. No.
Is Ekiteke a sell?
No, I'm not selling him.
That was fairly convincing, David. I feel the same, by the way.
No, Is
that just why you're not selling him? Because you know that I'm not. Is that what this is? Because your team's very similar to mine, mate.
You're buying Enzo tonight, aren't you? Who I've already got. So
yeah, well, you knew that I would. So
weren't you talking about Patrick Dorgu on the pod as well? Who I've already got?
Yeah, well, that's hit the skids, isn't it? Ruled out for 8 to 10 weeks. We think unconfirmed length, but he's definitely out this weekend.
Yeah, no, our teams are very similar. That's and you're ahead of me, so something's got to change there, I think, hasn't it? Ekitike is along with Salah now. He's back. He's just.
I loved his goal, by the way.
Clear number 9. Yeah, he's
loved it.
I think he loves playing at Anfield. No reason to think why you might. I mean, Newcastle's away record isn't great. Away record at Anfield isn't great. Hopefully, I'm not tempting fate too much there. Yeah, I'm quite enjoying a lot of people moving Ekitike on for João Pedro at the moment, to be honest, because feels I'm more than happy to have him and keep hold of him for a while yet.
Yeah, same as that. I can't promise you that I won't make that transfer before 25, particularly if it looks like Chelsea would double in 26 with you playing City. But no, I don't actually think João Pedro is a better asset this weekend than Ekiteke. I mean, he's going to start this one, isn't he? Surely.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's quite saving João Pedro to Ekitike. So I totally get it with Chelsea's fixture run, but it's not on the agenda for me at the moment.
On opponents, Newcastle briefly, obviously very honourable result in Paris. Not seen a lot of the game. Looks like they got messed about for 20 minutes, half hour or so, included a Nick Pope penalty save from Ousmane Dembele. But they were the more likely winner.
Yeah.
Towards the end, by looks of it. And all I'd say on Newcastle is the away record is bad. But when you see them go and perform like that on the counter, and it looks like they had a strategy to use Gordon and Barnes towards the end of the game, their problem is breaking down defensive sides in terms of creativity, I think, and particularly away from home. Against you, it's less of an issue because they know they're going to sit in a little bit more against an opponent like you, and you won't like that either. So I wouldn't take too much from it. I would expect Liverpool to win. The other side of it is, are Newcastle shattered following that effort on Wednesday night? Whereas essentially you've had a training match, haven't you, basically?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've only seen like 5-minute highlights of this game, but Newcastle, I mean, such a harsh penalty at the start.
Yeah,
but it does get given.
We've had that in Paris.
Yeah, it does get given in Europe, unfortunately. Lovely goal from Vitinha. He's in too much space, but he takes it. He takes it really well. But then, yeah, Newcastle pushing towards the end. Barnes had a couple of great chances. He got flagged
He just
offside.
loses balance that one at the end, doesn't he?
One at the end got flagged offside, but it would have counted. Gordon was a threat. Yeah, looked like Jacob Ramsey had a decent game. Joe Willock a goal. So Bruno Guimaraes unused sub on Wednesday. So
Yeah, and it sounds like he probably wasn't quite right. Eddie Howe said this morning it's not confirmed if he'd be available tomorrow.
right.
So, I mean, that becomes easy sell for me. Not that I was ever going to start him this week anyway, actually, away to yourselves, because you're such a strong opponent. You know, third best team in the Champions League. It's only one better than Super Tottenham Hotspur, David. Joe, it was a weird feeling Wednesday night. We obviously had to win.
Yeah.
And that's the way it proved. Although, ironically, had we drawn, we would have ever so marginally missed out. We'd have missed out by one goal, basically, on goal difference with a draw, which it never felt like that sort of thing would be possible going into the evening. But I really thought we'd win, which is not a feeling I didn't go to Burnley thinking we were going to win. I really thought we were going to win. And it was infused more when I saw the Frankfurt team and had made 7 changes from the weekend. Uzan's their best player, wasn't even in the squad. Thought, yeah, this is on, really. Despite the fact we had our own problems, Pedro Porro, the latest injury, out for around about a month. Mickey van der Ven will get news from Thomas Frank later today. Yes, he'll still be in charge. I can see that for sure this week. If Mickey van der Ven's going to be back for the weekend against Manchester City. What I can definitely tell you is that we'll play a back three again. So it's 3 games in a row that he's played it now. And personnel that was available Wednesday night very much suggested it would be a back 4. João Paulinho played as a right-sided centre-back. I like him now. Those who listen to me regularly will know I'm not his biggest fan. In fact, I have said I think he is the centre-back that plays in midfield. I like him at centre-back. He looks great now. I think he had 104 passes from right-sided centre-back. I don't think he'd have that across 3 games if he played in midfield. The thing is, when he plays there, he can pass.
Yeah.
He can see the game. It's when he's receiving it off centre-backs and it's under pressure, I'm turning. It's not quite right.
He's obviously a good tackler as well, isn't he? So,
well, he has all the physical attributes in terms of he's good in the air, the physicality. He had one moment in the second half where he tried to play a pass down the line to Spence, and Spence had read it wrong and he was moving forward. And I think it was Nathaniel Brown of Frankfurt cut it out. And he took a heavy touch. Paulinho was straight in to win it. It ricocheted. Come back to Frankfurt. They tried to play it back down the line again, and he won it again, Paulinho. It's like it's so typical of him, that side of the game. And I guess when you're at a moment low on morale, to have a player like that you know is absolutely going to give it on the pitch is beneficial. I just don't like him in midfield. The other thing that the back 3 does at the moment, and I have to credit Frank for this, is it better masks the problem in midfield at the moment. There's less onus on them because when you're back 3 and you're stuck in that position, rather than trying to shove one of the midfield into the back 3 to push fullbacks up the line, if you're starting with the back 3, they can progress the ball together. And if Romero sits at the heart of it, he's obviously very good in terms of his composure on the ball. It's not a problem. He was fantastic, by the way. And I have to say that because I was very critical of him on Monday. I just wish he had the concentration levels in the Premier League that he always seems to have in Europe. He was man of the match in Frankfurt in April, in Bodo, in the semi-final, in the final against United, again in this one. Exemplary, bar one wandering moment he had in the first half, but it was only the one moment. He was very good at centre-back. Danso at left-sided centre-back is very uncomfortable. But he did fine, Kev. You know what you get with him. So I think with that being said, the back 3 sticks. Now that can be Mickey's back, Danso to right-sided centre-back, shove Paulinho into midfield maybe, or shove him out of the team. There's different things that he can do. But whilst Spence and Udogie are fit as well, and they, I think, are better suited to the wing-back roles than Porro, which is strange because we bought Porro as someone that we only thought could play wing-back originally from Sporting. If those 2 are available and now we haven't got these playoff games because we finished top 8, I think it's going to stick for a while. And it suits better. We're also massively short of players who can play out wide. It's only really Wilson Odebear at the moment who played well, really unlucky not to score in the first half. And Xavi basically can just drop from a left 10 position to wherever he wants. And he will do the touchline.
He looked like he was really enjoying himself from what I saw on the highlights, Xavi Simons.
Xavi Simons
First goal should start is the goal that got ruled out. I don't know why that was ruled out, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the right decision.
You think so?
At the time, I was obviously other end of the ground, couldn't say, but yeah, you can see that Udogi pulls, and from that perspective, the referee has given it on pitch, so I have no issue with that. He saw a pull, there was a pull. Would VAR have intervened if it hadn't been given on
Given it.
pitch? Maybe not, but I don't have a problem with that. He should have scored in the first half as well, Simmons. But I could best sell you this to you, David, to say he was terrible against West Ham. He was fantastic against Dortmund. He was bad against Burnley. He was good against Frankfurt. There's definitely something in terms of the stylistic, and obviously he's come from the Bundesliga, so he's familiar with perhaps the pace and identity of these sort of teams. He's looked really good, whereas against two of the weaker teams in the Premier League recently, he hasn't. So there's definitely an element of the pace in Europe is far more suitable to him. I
Same
think
for Kolo Muani as well, maybe as well, because he's playing the Bundesliga and
I have to say with Kolo Muani, I think he's become a bit of a scapegoat for Tottenham fans, and I'm not too sure why.
hmm.
I think he's a decent forward. He's not the best option, Solanke is. This idea of, oh, if we buy Strand Larsen, we send Muani back. Stop like plugging holes with averageness. Let Muani go back in the summer and then get something. Let him and Richarlison go and then get something better to compete with Solanke in the summer would make way more sense. This idea has gone round that he doesn't put any effort in or something, Muani. I don't agree with it. I think it's just his characteristics of style that he kind of comes alive when the ball gets near him. He's only scored 3 goals for us since his join, all against old clubs. He got booed to fuck every time he touched the ball because he used to play for Frankfurt as well. He dealt with that fine. It was a surprise to see him in the team because he wasn't even used at Burnley. So I think people thought that he was kind of being cast aside. His performance was fine. Tottenham fans always need a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Rodrigo Bentancur was becoming it. He got injured. Oh, let's go for Moani now. He's not going to do all the pressing stuff as well as Dominic Solanke, but this hate that's been going around for him, I'd rather Moani stayed with us than we bought like Larson or Mateta for the rest of the season. Personally, I think that's fine. So yeah, good night. Not too bad at all.
Solanke's goal was lovely.
Yeah, it was nice.
Really?
What was really encouraging about that was his speed of reaction to recognize the situation once the header had gone backwards. Like he'd read it so quickly ahead of the brilliantly named Robin Koch, who I remembered why Leeds United sold him. But yeah, when he got through, I thought, oh, he's finishing. That's good for someone who's been out for so long to show kind of good speed of mind and then composure when he got there. I've missed him. He makes a big, big difference for us. He's clearly by a long way our best number 9, and that'll be the case when Richarlison's back as well. So it's a bit bare bones at the moment. It looks a bit better in the leagues. There's a number of players we can use in the league that we can't use in Europe, like Bissouma, Conor Gallagher, Matisse Tell. So the squad will look a little bit better, whatever it is on Sunday. But expect us, I think, for these next 4 games, because it's so rough, City, United, Newcastle, Arsenal, expect us to stick with the back 4, I think, for that. And because we've avoided these playoff games now, obviously it doesn't come back into play for us in terms of Champions League till the last 16, which is, when are we at, David? After game at 29, that, isn't it?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah,
I think so.
Off, isn't it?
So expect the squad to be quite settled. Expect Tottenham to do something in the transfer window on Monday, but I would rather it was something good rather than panic shit. If it's going to be panic shit, don't bother. Hopefully it will lift some morale going into some more difficult games. The setup is going to work better in some of these more difficult games. However, I'm not blind to, we've beat Dortmund and Frankfurt, all is well. Dortmund were absolutely dreadful against us. And it was such a touch for us that Frankfurt were already out. They didn't care. They changed the squad. It's the most comfortable you've ever felt 2-0 up away from home. There was, if they score, shit yourself.
No.
It was very clear with a few minutes to go that the game was done, and it was more likely to go 3-0 than 2-1. Note on their atmosphere, by the way. Incredible support.
Yeah, they stayed, didn't they? Even towards the end, yeah. So I saw your away days yesterday. Yeah.
Incredible support. They absolutely stayed with the team. Mate, if that was my team, be straight out the ground, they'd be getting booed off. However, I saw someone say something about German atmosphere recently. I don't think it's just labelled towards German atmosphere. It was very true. I said this to my dad during the game. We obviously went there in April and it was a banging atmosphere and it felt more intense, a little bit like, oh, it could be naughty walking through the forest and stuff. For people who don't know, you have to walk through a forest going to Frankfurt. It's quite interesting. But the police look after you. It wasn't the same the other night, but do you know what it is? It's noise.
Okay.
So like when our teams say like the tempo gets lifted and you win a corner or something like that, you can feel the noise build like in motion with what's happening in the game.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's only changes when a referee gives a decision that they don't like.
And there's whistles.
If they get a corner or something like that, not that I don't think they did have a corner against us. They only had 4 shots in the whole game. It was so comfortable. The atmosphere doesn't change with the mood of the game.
I get you. Yeah.
So actually, once you get used to it, it's not intimidating.
Yeah.
It's just loud.
It's just background noise. Yeah.
Yeah. But they do support throughout. No matter what happens, they stayed with the team. They all stayed to clap them off. That ultras end. I don't think anybody left it. We were out the ground before they were.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Brilliant support.
Quick FPL one then. If you're playing a back three against...
You ain't asking me a Tottenham FPL question, mate.
Well, no, it's against the player playing Tottenham, in fairness. Back three, Haaland against the back three. Does that make you less inclined or more inclined to, or not, or no opinion changed on captaincy this week?
I would say us playing a back three reduces him slightly. Yeah, I would say, but not enough, because I haven't seen anything good against Tottenham in these 3 games that we've particularly played it, and we ended up looking all over the shop in the second half at Burnley. The 2 German opponents we played were pathetic on the given evenings. So not enough for me to move it off. I know some people think Haaland Bruno is close this week. If people want to go Bruno, it's fine. I'll be still with Haaland this week. Yeah. Next week, when City play you, I'm more interested in the narrative of taking it on. Ultimately, let's remember that my team are not great. So there's not enough reason for me to take Haaland on.
Fourth best team in Europe, mate, according to the league standards.
Yeah, according to the league standings, which are going to wrap up nice for us, but I'll wrap it up with this for you. The teams that Tottenham played in the Champions League finished 11th, 17th, 21st, 23rd, 31st, 33rd, 34th, and 35th. Right. I mean, it's a really good achievement. I won't take anything away from it. 6 clean sheets is great. Ironically, the best performance we probably put in, we conceded 5 in Paris. It's just the way it goes. So, truthfully, in hindsight, looking at the fixtures we had, we should have achieved this. I mean, given the Frankfurt game completely, Dortmund gave us the game last week. Copenhagen were one of the worst teams I think I've ever seen rock up at White Lane in any competition. God knows how I then watched them win at Villarreal a couple of weeks later. Slavia Prague, average. Villarreal, 1 point from the 8 games. Dreadful stuff. We got battered in Bodo, somehow got a draw. They finished 23rd. We got battered in Monaco, finished 21st, somehow got a draw. Yeah, I'm not blind. We've been very, very fortuitous there. But Thomas Frank will do, without a doubt, the game on Sunday. I think he would only lose his job next week if it was a battering, i.e. it's 4-0 and there's big calls and stuff like that. Otherwise, I would expect him to stay in charge, probably at least up until the Newcastle game. Then there's a bit of a gap after that. But I think they're probably going to stick with him. He won't be manager next season, but I think they're going to stick with him. And actually, on these more difficult fixtures, I don't mind it too much. Wrap me up, David, in the Champions League. Oh, Benfica, for Benfica.
Well, yeah, we can start there.
He's like Jimmy Glass. He's going to be remembered forever, isn't it? For a goal.
Someone on our Slack said that. I mean, we should give our Patreon a mini plug, really, because it was absolutely brilliant. I actually turned off the Liverpool game at sort of 4-5-0 on Wednesday because it was kind of there was kind of more exciting stuff going on.
You only watch when you're losing. Watch when you're losing.
Yeah, I put the goal show on because I was just like, what sort of carnage awaits here? And on our Slack on Patreon, just it was popping off. Everyone was on good form. Lots of funny people, sort of keeping across what was going on across Europe. And when that Benfica goal went in at the end, it was absolute scenes, to be honest. There's a lot of big moments going on. Um, so yeah, Benfica, for those who don't know, I'm sure everyone does. They needed a goal towards right at the end of the game, and they sent the keeper up, Anatoly Trubin, absolute bullet header into the goal. So saw a quote from Mourinho. He got interviewed after the game. Obviously, he was loving it. I don't think it was a coincidence that that was the last game to finish, because there were a few stoppages in the second half, and probably
Wasn't there like 7 minutes added on in the first half or something as well, I heard, which was fairly
yeah,
legit, I think.
right, okay. But I think regardless, Mourinho would have liked to have known what was
Oh,
needed
without a
towards the
doubt.
end. Yeah. Um, Benfica thought that the job was done when Mourinho, there's some quotes from him. So he made some changes just inside injury time, including bringing on a centre back, because they thought that they'd done enough to make the playoffs. So a quote from Mourinho, he
I
said,
guess, had they not realised that Sporting had scored as well, maybe?
potentially not, no.
Yeah.
Quote from Mourinho is, when I make the changes, the last changes, Ivanovic and Antonio Silva's a centre back, I was told is enough. So let's close the door. A few seconds later, they
Oh,
tell
no,
me
it wouldn't be Sporting, would it? It's the other end of the bloody table.
they made the eight, Sporting, yeah.
Yeah.
A few seconds later, they tell me we need one more goal, but I cannot make more changes. So that was the lucky point to get the free kick that allows us to go there with the big guy, the goalkeeper. I think it was Marseille, wasn't it? Marseille
I
in
can't, but
in
Marseille
Bruges.
weren't 3-0 down with about 15 minutes to go. And then that game finished so early. You've probably seen this in Bruges.
Bruges, yeah.
They put up,
Congratulations. Yeah.
yeah, it's nice. They put up a congratulations to qualifying for Marseille. It's still like 10 minutes to go in Lisbon.
Yeah. It's quite funny, the free kick when Benfica score, because Real are down to 9 men by this point. So Raul Asensio gets sent off, and then Rodrigo gets booked twice in quick succession. So they get a free kick taken brilliantly by Ausenes. Delivery's brilliant.
It's not a foul, by the way.
I've not actually seen the
Yeah,
foul
Bellingham
given.
wins the ball. I've seen it. Bellingham wins the ball.
Right,
It's not a
okay.
foul.
It's 8 versus 6 when the free
Yeah,
kick
I
goes
put
in.
7v5, but I said to Nico this morning, I can't remember ever seeing a set piece where the attacking team had two more players than the defending team.
It looks really funny when how much they're outnumbered by Real Madrid when the free kick goes in, and a great header from Trubin. So yeah,
I totally get that from Real Madrid, by the way. I'm not using that as like a criticism, and we have been critical of them as a collective in the past, and I think we will be again in the latter stages of this tournament. But I totally get that, because they needed a goal as well. And the only real shot at this stage of scoring again, which would have got them a top 8 place, was to hope that one of their players won the header, and they might have had like a 2v2 if it had cleared from the box. So
and the keeper's in the box.
yeah, well, exactly. Shoot. So I mean, it probably was one of them moments where I guess someone was scoring in those 60 seconds, essentially.
So, yeah.
Amazing
scenes,
finish. He's a box office, Jose. You can't argue it.
Yeah.
It was a box office finish for Sporting as well, which was similar scenario with their late goal in Bilbao, because similarly Bilbao needed to score to get into the top 24, and Sporting needed a goal to get into the top 8. It feels like UEFA's dream to have these scenarios fall at the end of match day 8, and I suppose you'll always end up with a little bit drama, not quite like goalkeepers scoring, but something like that, where it would have been the same in the PSG Newcastle game. They'd have known they both needed a goal, right? You're going to get that sort of drama towards the end. I'm still not sold on this format, though, Dave.
No, I know you're not. No, but I mean, it kind of, if the whole reason for doing it was basically because of Wednesday night, then you can almost see the argument, because it was the drama was brilliant. I mean, 5 out of the 8 are is that right? 4 out of the 8 are Premier League clubs.
5,
5, yeah. Arsenal,
only Newcastle, not
Chelsea.
made it.
Oh, City, yeah. So I mean, what we're seeing here is Premier League's finding European football a lot easier in many cases than their domestic.
It's so strong.
Domestic, yeah.
The other advantage for the English teams, truthfully,
They don't have to play each other. They don't have to play each
spot on.
other. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, it is a major advantage. Yeah, because the strength and the quality, that was a kind of a overriding thing against Dortmund last week when we played them. Even before they had the player sent off, they could not deal with the physicality and tempo of the game. It was too much for them.
Yeah.
And I watch Tottenham every week thinking we're limp, we're slow. Tottenham come out the blocks, couldn't hold it, couldn't deal with it.
I mean, as bad as we've been, take that PSV shit show out of it, which was a real low point. We've actually been pretty good in Europe this season, even despite how all over the place we've looked at times as well. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's something to look at if teams should be allowed to play teams from their domestic leagues in the group stages. Maybe that would be another way of kind of leveling the playing field.
I lose enough to Chelsea and Arsenal every year, David, and yourselves. I don't really need any more of that. You don't go into Europe to play teams from your own.
Yeah, well, we know that in the future rounds that's off the table now, and teams can play teams from other countries. So maybe that will reduce some of the.
It's 50% Bayern will play Leverkusen or Dortmund, isn't it? I think I'd say.
That's right. Yeah, I can go through the some of the permutations. Although
go on quick. Just a reminder to people that by the time you hear this or watch this, the draw may have already been made.
Yeah, I mean, so the top 8, just to run through, it's Arsenal, Bayern, Liverpool, Tottenham, Barcelona, Chelsea, Sporting, and Man City. They were the top 8. So they are in the last 16, where they will play their second legs at home. So that's a result. I'm not going to go through all the permutations because, like you just said, James, by the time you listen to this, you may know the actual draw. We don't know at the time of recording, but Newcastle, they will play one of Monaco, Qarabag, or PSG in the playoff round, and will play, if they get through that, they'll play Barcelona or Chelsea in the last 16. I dare say you would want to play Qarabag from what we saw on Wednesday, that they would be, although it wouldn't be a picnic over there, to be honest, in terms of the travel, and they are a different team at their own stadium. They would, you fancy to
fancy at home though,
to beat them at St James's if that's who you're going to get.
You'd almost one of them. You wouldn't be bothered if you lost by a goal. I don't think.
No, that's
You'd
right.
expect to do the business at home. Yeah,
that's right. Liverpool or Spurs? We know we will both play one of Bruges, Galatasaray, Juventus, or Atletico. By the time you listen to this,
I'm having it. Whichever one it is, I'm having it.
You're on another European venture. City will play one of Bodo Glimt, Benfica, Real Madrid, or Inter. So something potentially.
Bodo Glimt, mate. Wow.
Yeah.
All those who told, you won't play teams like Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. Yeah, they should have beat us as well, mate. To beat City at home and Atletico Madrid away in consecutive games, there's not a side in the world that wouldn't be delighted with that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Could be Benfica, Real Madrid again in the playoffs, which would be good fun.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Arsenal will play one of Dortmund, Olympiacos, Atalanta, or Leverkusen in the last 16. You may know, well, no, you won't know because the playoffs are still to be played. Should I do a bit of Europa League just to box that off as well? Or
yeah, it can do. Just before you do, I mean, probably the headline on that from last night is, I mean, great result for Forest, Ollie Watkins injury. Feels like the headline on that, on top of some bad stuff already for Villa. So John McGinn's going to be out for sort of 6 to 8 weeks. Yuri Tielemans 8 to 10 weeks. It's landed at a bad time. They're light in midfield. They've obviously re-signed Douglas Luiz, who's rejoined the club. He'll go straight in as their penalty taker. All this, who's taking penalties for Villa, he's probably going to have to go in the team. I think they've obviously come from behind to beat Salzburg last night. Conceded a very comical goal to go 1-0 down. They've obviously confirmed the top 2 plays. Yeah, I'm just a bit worried for Villa on that with those injuries. Tammy Abraham, 6 million.
Could be a
punty. Could scream immediately, couldn't it? See what Emery says today. I presume as it was starting, he'll start.
He's been playing, hasn't he? We
looked before we started. He has been playing for Besiktas, so he shouldn't be too short of fitness. Villa don't have a game next midweek. We'd probably go straight in the team, I suppose.
Yeah, interesting. Top 8 in the Europa League: Lyon, Aston Villa, Midtjylland, Real Betis, Porto, Braga, Freiburg, and Roma. They are all in the last 16 and don't need to play a playoff. We know that Villa will play one of PAOK, Lille, Crvena Zvezda, which is Red Star Belgrade, or Celta Vigo in the last 16. Forest are in the playoff round, so they will play one of Fenerbahce, Panathinaikos, or Victoria Pilsen. for the right to play either Midtjylland or Betis in the last 16. Celtic, they're also in the playoff round. They will play one of Ludogorets, Ferencvaros, managed by Robbie Keane, who would go to one of his 34 former clubs if he gets through, if they draw with them, or Stuttgart. If they get through that, they will play either Braga or Porto in the last 16. The draw for that is made today. So again, by the time you listen to this, you may know a little bit more than we do at the time of recording. That's the Europa League.
Yeah, Villa played, I want to say they played Lille when they had the run in the Conference League and they beat them on penalties, I think I want to say.
Okay.
And Celta Vigo might be, they could play one of them or Celta Vigo in the last 16. I think I've got them right. Those could be quite dangerous games if Villa have still got this midfield missing.
Yeah, Villa is one of PAOK, Lille, Crvena Zvezda or Celta Vigo. That's right.
Yeah, and the two away games the other two, PAOK or, I mean, it's still Red Star Belgrade to me, sorry, could be quite intense away games as well. I think Lille could be quite a dangerous one for Villa at kind of like a last 16 stage of the tournament, coming around a period where before the first leg, they play Chelsea at home, and after the first leg and in between the second, they play Manchester United away. That's the one almost more than any other you'd want a really good fixture, I think. Otherwise, as long as they don't ever slip up because they rotate too much or something like that, honestly, they really should go and win this. I don't want to put the pressure on them, but you've seen two shit English teams who were far worse than what Villa are now get to the final last year.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, by the way. My team finished on 17 points in Europa League group stage last year. Finished fourth with a 1-5, drawn 2, lost 1, scored 17 record, and have done exactly the same in the Champions League this year. 17th, you know the rest. I'm going to Budapest. Go on, Dave, wrap it up.
That's all Europa League. Yeah, I didn't have much else from that. So yeah, but again, by the time you listen to this, you might know who everyone's got.
So Forest
will play one of Fenerbahce, Panathinaikos, or Victoria Pilsen, and if they get through that, they'll play Midtjylland or Betis.
Well, they can't play Pilsen, can they? So it'll be Fenerbahce or Panathinaikos. Pilsen will play the other one, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I think that's okay. Yeah,
Forest. I'll tell you this for free: you'd rather have Panathinaikos than Fenerbahce.
Okay.
At Panathinaikos Stadium, I had the goal show on last night. I wasn't watching it intently, but they're completely rebuilding that stadium in Athens. That's where England beat Greece when Lee Carsley was manager. There's a massive crane inside the ground at the moment. Like, it's completely getting redone. It's like it's half full capacity and stuff, and it's kind of an open stadium and that anyway. In terms of away games intensity, yeah, you're probably going to find that a bit easier than Fenerbahce. I should imagine we've got some talented individuals. Good luck to both of those. So Forest could go deep in this.
Mm.
Could go very deep in it. That's roundup, I think. All the European stuff, isn't it? So, should we just finish with free hits and wildcards, David?
Yeah.
Give us a free hit draft.
Free hit. Okay. So I've got double Arsenal defence of Raya and Gabriel.
Boring.
Chalobah at home to West Ham.
Boring. I thought you were reading out my team. Sorry.
Mukiele. Have you got him?
Nah. I got more money than you.
He always looks the most likely whenever I watch Sunderland out of the defenders. He's gone up to 4.5, actually, so I guess a lot of people agree. But I've put him in. Midfield for Bruno Fernandes, Enzo Fernandez, Declan Rice, Bumo. Front three of Hugo Ekitike, Brian Brobby, and Captain Erling Haaland. Bench of Dubravka, Ahmad, Reynaldo, and James Hill. It's not super exciting, but if I was free hitting, that's probably what I'd go for, I think.
Yeah, not to be advised, guys, but it just gives you a flavour of players we kind of fancy to do well this weekend. Similarities and differences. Double Arsenal defence, Timber Gabriel, there's no way I would touch it personally. Trevor Chalobah would be an auto pick, wouldn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I have got Sunderland coverage for me in mine. I've done it with Robin Rose in goal. So essentially, double Arsenal, one Chelsea, one Sunderland. We've gone together. Midfield, you went with Fernandez, Enzo, Rice, Bumo.
Yeah.
I've added Morgan Rogers to that.
Hmm.
Up front, a bit different to you. I've gone Haaland and I've gone Evan Nilsson.
Wolves. Yeah.
I know it was a bit. I kind of put out some statistics, easy for you to say, on Monday about Evan Nilsson only scoring against Big Six opponents this season and not the easier fixtures. But away at Wolves, actually, I can foresee him doing all right in that. And I think he could be a dangerous player to buy and invest in moving forward. With I said the same about Bournemouth all the time. The window's still open. I'm a bit conscious of that. I think for this week, he'd be a decent pick. I'd probably have Krupi in reserve for that as well, along with Ballard, Maguire. I've put on the bench. So yeah, similarities. It's pretty much Rodgers and Evan Nilsson for me versus your Robbie and Ekateke, I guess.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay. Wild card, what you gone for? And I guess first and foremost, how much have you factored the Everton Chelsea into the decision here?
Not at all, to be honest, although it looks
Okay.
like I have. I have to be honest.
I can't see any Everton here, David.
No, no. Um, it's not massively different from what you covered on your chip strategy podcast with Sudge the other day. There's a clear five in midfield that I'd want on wildcard, and I've sort of taken it from there really. So Bruno Fernandes, Enzo, Rice, Rodgers, Bumo. Really like that five on wildcard.
I would be same five, by the way.
Yeah, thought that. So get those in. Timber and Gabriel I've already got, so I'd keep those. I wouldn't mess about with the goalkeepers, I don't think so. Kept Verbruggen and Dubravka. Chalobah goes in. João Pedro goes in. Despite there is a risk there, I suppose, given the cup games either side of the league games. I think I would put him in. Haaland stays, so then it's just a few of the defenders really. So I stuck Senesi in because Bournemouth have got some good fixtures in the short to mid-term. Alderete, who sat on the bench with a great fixture this week, but I don't think I'd play him ahead of anybody else in all honesty. And then that's meant I needed to kind of downgrade Igor Thiago to a cheap striker, which is Mateus Mane, with Wolves likely double in a few weeks' time. Although I must admit, I kind of span it forward using FPL.team, and I'd be struggling to play him in that double, to be honest, Mateus Mane. So whether I would actually play him or not.
And the danger with that is as well, obviously, if the double for Wolves and Arsenal happens, that's also a headache for you for 31.
Yes, true.
Where you're moving it to.
You can see on the graphic here, it was only 6 changes from my actual team. It's actually 5 because I've already got Bruno Fernandes as one of them since the last deadline. So I'm fortunate enough, I think, like yourself, not to need to press the button to wildcard at the moment. So yeah, there's a lot to like about it, but not something I'm minded to do myself at the moment.
So it might surprise you that for me would be 10 changes now, I think. But there are little things in there like Alderete to Reynildo. I've played around like I did with the draft the other day to go Raya rather than Timber on the idea that you can hide it for 31.
Yeah.
And I guess with pretty much full complement of players returning for Arsenal defensively, is there a chance Timber? I think Timber won't play in the FA Cup, so I think he would play the 2 league games. It's also worth noting as well that after 26, Arsenal don't play Tottenham until the Sunday. So there would be 4 days from Wolves to Tottenham.
Yeah.
And then the midweek is free afterwards as well. So there's no reason to think that he wouldn't play in the league. But I probably would go Raya. It's more to hiding it about in 31, really. Now, I've made a number of changes here, and I did redo it off the draft I did on Tuesday on a couple of factors. One, I did look at the draft I put together, and I don't want to be trumpet, but I thought it looks fucking great, that. And then straight after we released the podcast, come out that Dorgu was injured. Okay, that can't work. And the information on Everton Chelsea, I just think if I was on it now, I think you've got to gamble Chelsea. I think so. If you're on it, that means taking out a few players that I wouldn't necessarily want to get rid of, really, like Ekateke, for example. And I have factored Everton into this a little bit. So goalkeepers Raya Dubravka, defenders Gabriel Chalobah, Reynildo. This is trying to find money here rather than Alderete. That's it. Chris Richards of Crystal Palace. As a saving on, I had Munoz in the draft the other day.
Yeah.
And James Tarkowski. Because I think if Everton were to have back-to-back games in a double, unless something happens like we discussed earlier on the pod about could it be Keane and Branthwaite, you'd have to think, what is he in a double? Does he start on like 6 or 7 points because of the DEFCONs? Bournemouth are so direct, would be the first game. He's obviously going to have some defending to do against Chelsea. You would expect him to get DEFCON, I think, in both games. So do you need to factor that in and like, has he got to go in? So I almost looked at him as like right, well, I don't need to play him at Brighton this week. I can play Reynaldo and then it's at Fulham. It's fine. I can play that. That's not a problem. And then potentially the double. If it's not, it's still Bournemouth at home. And then moving forward, when they go to Newcastle, it's an easy drop down to like a Collins or an Anderson. That's kind of what I was thinking. Midfield, same. Go on.
Sorry, could you do Pickford Timber rather than Raya Tchaikovsky? Or would you want to? Is that potential option?
What do you mean? So,
Pickford, we know, is one of the top scoring goalkeepers when you can go there, isn't he?
Yeah. There's also a possibility that you might go, right, Chelsea are doubling Arsenal, ain't I'll go Raya to Pickford.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's also a possibility. And there's a possibility, like I said, something like Rice to and Die, you would maybe consider. Yeah. The three Chelsea would go in place. So, as you said, same for midfield 5 as you, Bumo, Enzo, Bruno Fernandes, Rice, Rodgers. I've had a number of questions, and I did mention this on Ask James yesterday, about if you could go to Bumo rather than Enzo, would you do it? The answer to that is still yes for me, because I think anyone can get to Enzo. Not everyone can get to Bumo. I can't get to Bumo, for example, so I would take that route. Up front, Haaland, as it stands, I don't think João Pedro starts tomorrow, but I'd do it anyway, and I'd start the bastard.
Yeah.
And then Krupi as the third forward. I don't actually know if João Pedro's a bastard, by the way, so I'm not calling him out. He might be, might not be, I don't know. But when I've owned him, he's felt like one.
Yeah, I think we all feel like that. Yeah.
But I think he'd have to go in, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you'd have to.
I think so. That's it. That's your weekend done, guys. Plenty more next week. As said, we'll be doing a transfer window show on Tuesday. Transfer window obviously closes on Monday. There is a deadline stream tomorrow for those of you on YouTube. That is 12:30 p.m. UK time. I believe there's no early kickoff tomorrow. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. Plenty more going on there, including our differential show Game Week 24 preview for Intermediate Plus tier and above patrons, and Intermediate Plus tier above patrons will, along with the advanced tier patrons, also have access to the team news stream at 4 p.m. UK time today. Which sees me to say, smash a like, hit the sub, audio listeners, a 5-star review goes a really long way. Have a great weekend, everyone, and play it your way. Cue music, please, man child.